In 1967, Richard Rush made a movie named Hell's Angel on Wheels that got the entire world riled up. All of a sudden, everyone was interested in the motorcycle clubs. Some of them went on finding the ways of joining an existing MC, some tried forming their own. But most importantly, all of them thought joining Hell's Angel would be an honor and started finding out more details about one of the OMGs in the biker world, the Hell's Angel. Who were they? How did they come into existence? What all needed to be done to be a part of them? The entire youth crowd who were bike fanatics started searching for an answer to these questions. The answers to these questions were not very clear to them, since the early history of Hell's Angels is still unknown to a lot. The Hell's Angels originated on March 17, 1948, in Fontana, California. It is said that several small bikers group agreed to join forces to give themselves a bigger name, and that's how they came up with Hell's Angels. Otto Friedli, a World War II veteran, is credited with starting the club after breaking from the Pissed Off Bastards motorcycle club over a feud with a rival gang. According to an alternative theory, the Hells Angels were founded on November 15, 1951, in San Bernardino, by Dick White, a member of the Redlands Road Runners. According to its website, the club's name was suggested by Arvid Olsen, an associate of the founders who had served in the Hells Angels squadron of the Flying Tigers in China during World War II. In a letter written to the Guinness Book of World Records by a member on the Hells Angels' behalf, it is instead stated that the club's name was taken from the Hells Angels squadron of the 303rd Bombardment Group, which was active in the European theater of World War II. Apart from being the most talked about MC in the history of 1% outlaw MCS, Hells Angels is not much behind than the Bandidos when it comes to the criminal activities. Various U.S. law enforcement agencies classify the Hells Angels as one of the Big Four motorcycle gangs, along with the Pagans, the Outlaws, and the Bandidos, and contend that members carry out widespread violent crime and organized crime, including drug dealing, trafficking in stolen goods, extortion, and prostitution operations. But you'll be surprised to know that even after this long rap sheet of criminal activities, the Hells Angels follow strict codes and rules inside their club. Hells Angels' former president of their Oakland, California chapter, Sonny Barger, mentioned about these rules in his book A Hells Angels, The Life and Time of Sonny Barger. Not only do all the members follow these rules by heart, there are severe consequences for those who don't live by these rules. What are the consequences? Some are simply forced to abandon everything they know. The others, who aren't lucky enough, might even end up losing their lives. According to the Vancouver Sun, most of the prospective members of the club have to go through a lengthy process before they are even considered to be inside the Brotherhood of Hells Angels. In short, they have to earn it. This process can last for years. In his book A Hell to Pay, Hells Angels vs. $1 Million Rats, crime journalist Neil Hall mentions that an individual needs to be acquainted with the club and its members for at least 5 years to be considered to be inside the club. Acquaintances will then be qualified as an official friend. The first rule is dress code. Hells Angel has earned their patches after years of service and dedication. They wear their patches like the old warriors and protect them with the copyright law. The top rocker is a curved patch that sits above the club's logo and typically bears the words Hells Angels in bold, uppercase lettering. This rocker signifies the club's name and is a prominent feature of the patch. The central emblem of the Hells Angels patch is the club's logo, which often features a winged skull or an image of an angel with outstretched wings. This logo is a powerful symbol of the club's identity and is instantly recognizable to both members and outsiders. Similar to the top rocker, the bottom rocker is a curved patch that sits below the club's logo. It often displays the name of the specific chapter or region to which the wearer belongs, such as California or New York. This rocker serves to identify the local chapter of the Hells Angels. The traditional Hells Angels patch is known as a three-piece patch because it consists of 3 separate components: the top rocker, the club logo, and the bottom rocker. This style of patch is commonly associated with outlaw motorcycle clubs and is worn on the back of a member's jacket or vest. Bikers choose to avoid wearing these patches to avoid getting noticed by law enforcement or simply just to avoid getting beaten up. In his book, Sonny Barger mentions that the members are willing to fight for the club as well as the symbols it represents. Whenever the club members are together, they are instructed to wear their patches to show their commitment to the club. Former Hells Angel president George Christie mentions in his speech at a docu-series in History Channel that the main rule is to always back the other members of the club. He learned the importance of this rule in 1976, even before he was a member of Hells Angel. When he was in his prospect days in Los Angeles, an outsider made the president known as Old Man John angry, so John hit him several times and threatened to cut the man's throat with a knife. According to Christie, John was testing his brotherhood as much if not more than the individual. After he understood Christie would stand by him no matter what action he takes, he cut off the imposter's jacket and kicked him out of the club. From this you can understand how deep the meaning of having each other's back is. Even if a club member commits a heinous crime, the others have to support him, no questions asked. As you can guess, along with this rule, the rule called the Code of Silence comes naturally. The Code of Silence is not only about having each other's back though. Hells Angels use their club meetings to discuss all sorts of business, but what they do not talk about is the criminal activities conducted by the individuals or by the club. For the sake of club security, the members choose to completely avoid these topics during their club meetings. According to Christie, the Hells Angel don't identify as a criminal organization, but there have been multiple instances where the individual members have involved themselves in illegal activities. The law enforcement always target Hells Angels since it's easier to target a group than a selective individual. Hence, they avoid the discussion of their individual activities during group meetings so that it can't be used to tarnish the club. But unfortunately, the club has made them so untouchable in the eyes of law with their hierarchy system, code of conducts, etc. that any of the members can get away after committing a serious crime. Hells Angel respect the order and chain of command like anything. With a chain of command as strict as a military organization, the hierarchy established within the group has to be respected at all times, even when they ride. Especially when they ride. The chapter president always rides in the front, portraying an image of an invincible leader, even if it puts him in danger of possible collision. This also means that the leader will never put the gang at risk, even if it means putting his life in danger. The vice president rides next, followed by the road captain and the sergeant of arms. After the chapter officers, it becomes a little chaotic as it's a free-for-all drag race, jockeying for positions. After the first 10, the race kind of falls back from there. The prospects stay in the back of the gang while riding. To maintain order, the Hells Angels never break a formation. Since the Hells Angels don't leave a brother behind, they always pull over together, especially when a member is being stopped by cops. Now you may think, what's dark in forming an order? It implants a sense of discipline in the members after all. If you dig deep into the history of Hells Angels violence, you'll be shocked to see that how many times Hells Angels broke a person because he came close to becoming a reason of breaking their order. Although, the fifth and the final rule of Hells Angel is a silver lining. There are some people who can never ever be eligible to join Hells Angels. Before someone even tries to be a Hells Angel, there are some basic criteria they need to fulfill and certain things that immediately disqualifies a person from becoming a Hells Angel. Child molesters and rapists can never be a part of Hells Angels. The club also doesn't allow the members to have any connection with law enforcement, even if it has been in their past. Which means, if an individual took any step to become a prison guard or police officer, he can never join the club. If someone has only applied for a law enforcement job, it still makes him unworthy to join the club. In Neil Hall's analysis, he said that it's possible that this rule is in place so that the individuals don't get caught for a certain criminal activity. The rules of Hells Angels abide them to a never-ending brotherhood, which is why it becomes a part of their blood. There's been many instances when a member of Hells Angels have been banished from the group or retired with dignity, but they live their life believing that they are still Hells Angel till their last breath. You can take a person out of Hells Angels, but you can never take out Hells Angels from a person. Leave a comment below if you want us to be back soon with the other rules of Hells Angels, which are just as important.